boom, we're starting recording. And yeah, just to our point, everything is content, and you can cut it, you can chop it up. This is my buddy, Alex Holland, one Big Al. And why don't you tell the folks at home about yourself?
What's up, everybody? It's 1B1GAL. We started about 3 years ago. I started with my daughter making TikToks. You know, it was a thing that we bonded together with. Mm-hmm. She wanted to do it. I kept pushing to the side because it was like, this is kids, kids zone. Then I fell in love with it. And then 3 years later, here we are. But it's not that simple. It's more complex, really. It's definitely, it starts off as a passion. And it works into, you got to put the passion, then you got work behind that passion to get you to where you need to be. You know, my daughter she said she wanted to be a big influencer. So I said, okay, daddy got your back, but we got to put the work in. So that's where the time came in. So,
dude, I'm feeling you. Like, I mean, right now we're recording it Sunday. I'm going to be using this in your week with John W. And it's actually going to be this Sundays. So I'm late. Normally I try to release them about 8 o'clock, but I was like, I wanted to get this, grab it, put it in. And, to your point in the work, we were just talking about, for those of you that didn't have a way to, go into my computer and hack and steal all my shit. We were just talking about projects, things that we are passionate about. Ultimately, this is stuff I want to get into because I really like the entrepreneurial side and the mindset of people. I want to be meeting with local businessmen, women, figuring things out and talking to them. And I think that one of the things you're doing, because you're still working, like you got a full-time job.
Full-time job, yep.
So you're full-time employee. 100%. You're a full-time entrepreneur.
That's right, 100%.
You got a lady in your life, and you're a parent.
That's it, 100%, all around. But it keeps me going. I enjoy doing it. So when you find something that you enjoy to do, and it's not painful. So when I get off of work, that's like me debriefing. It's making videos and be able to make people laugh and then be able to have that bonding time with my daughter. So that was the main part of this whole equation is she enjoys doing it. So daddy's got your back. So let's have fun with it. You know what I mean? There are points where you don't want to do it, but then you got to push through it to get to where you want to do our goals and things that we set for each other. So for sure, man, I love it.
Well, that's awesome. And, that I think the motion of, okay, you have to continue doing it because, I think last week I had mentioned it was one of my major bitches and we just did a mic check before to make sure that when we did this recording, it wasn't hot garbage like the last one was with the reverbs and stuff like that. Right. And the more you do it, it's just like muscle memory. And you come from a background of weight trainers. I will never forget. It was a video taken probably on some Nokia fucking brick. And it was your mom, 225 incline bench press for reps. Like she's like getting under there. And this was at a time like I was in my early 20s. Right. And I was like, who is this Alex? And why is he like working out all the time and doing all this shit? Yeah. And you're like, dude, it's my whole family. And you showed me that. I was like, the fuck? Like, pardon me. But I was like, she's like, bro.
Yeah, I believe, you know what I'm saying, as your kid, you see what your parents do, right?
Yeah.
So I always saw my parents doing that. That was their bonding together. They both love lifting weights. So they always took me around weights. So as I grew up, that's what I seen. So that's what I started enjoying to do. They didn't force me to do it. I was like, all right, this is cool. I see my parents do it. I want to do it. I got into it. But I tell you what, that 220, my butt whoopings was serious. Ain't no joking. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
220, it ain't take too many times that belt to hit that butt. That was it.
I did it twice the first and the last time. It's all it took.
That's it, man. That's it.
Lesson learned.
Man.
But
definitely, man.
But it's good to see, as a parent, I'm not, but, as you were a parent, being able to inspire your kid and say, hey, look, these things are great. I think that one of the best opportunities we have right now is that fairly easy market to entry. Now, you and I both have equipment. We were gushing all over the fact that we both have Yeti microphones, which they're kind of high. They're like $120, sometimes a little higher. But people can hear you better. So you got that. You got a computer that you've invested in. But most people have a computer, and you don't have to have a monster rig to do talks. Like you can have whatever kind of system. I use OBS for screen capture because it's free, and quite frankly, it's great.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like you said, you don't need a lot to start. And I tell everybody that. Well, let me show you. This is what I started on. I use this phone. These things are very powerful. So this is like a computer. This right here got me through the first 2 years of me growing to, I would say, about 1.5 million people on TikTok. And then everything else is a cell phone. Editing, learning all that stuff behind it, iMovie, everything else that come with it. That's it. It's simple. If you wanted to get into being an influencer or not. So that's what I tell everybody. You don't need a lot. You just got to have a passion for it. You know what I mean? That's anything.
Agreed. And that's, dude, I remember you just barely, we've known each other for a long time before you were interested in this. And, now you're knocking on the door of 3 million followers, which is really, really cool. And it's a lot being able, I think so many people are like, oh, these people are from the West Coast or they're from a major city. And, you're from a larger-ish city in Virginia, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's the Mecca of civilization by any means. Right. It's, how many people?
Look, the thing is, like, when I travel different places, people say where I'm from, and I tell them, and they're like, where is that at? It's like big name places, D.C. or Richmond, but I'm near an area around there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like you said, people always think that you got to be in the L.A., and I'm not going to lie. I thought that. Like, I have meetings with TikTok, and I talk to different people from the West Coast, East Coast, down South, all that. And I was talking to somebody from L.A., and they was like, I said, man, I want to move out there. He said, wow. I said, well, everybody's out there. It seems like everybody's collabing, whatever. He said, I tell you what, you got you got your phone, you got internet. Why can't we collab like this? He said, you move out here for wherever you at, I bet you're not going to be paying $3,000 for like a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom. He said, it's not worth it. It's not, you know what I mean? Everybody thinks that's the dream. Not hating on LA by any means, because there's so much to do out there. It's a beautiful place, but you can do it from your own home. You know what I mean? There's kids 15 making millions off a phone. So, but in your mind, that's what you see, and on TV, that's what you see. But in reality, you don't, buddy.
Right, and that's one of the really cool parts. And just like you said, you grab a phone, you go. Amen. I think it was like the early days of YouTube, but not too early. I want to say like between the 2015, 2019, right before COVID, right? There was some kid, it was 6, and his parents, bought him toys. Initially, the toy boy, and was making millions of bucks just because they'd set the camera up and they're like, here's a toy. And they'd play with the toy.
Yep.
And if the toy sucked, they just wouldn't play it. And they weren't initially sponsored. They weren't having anybody being like giving them free toys. Now, like toy companies are like throwing toys at them. So like, please review this, do that. Yep. And I think the kid, I want to say 2019 netted, it was like $6.4 million. I mean, I don't know about you, but I ain't making that kind of money. Like, damn sure not playing with toys. Like,
but the good thing is, man, I always look at it as it's an option to be able to make it. You know what I mean? They started young in the game. They took in a niche that probably wasn't there, made it one that was beautiful, and it panned out for them. They just never gave up. I would think there too, even if through their analytics, people think, going viral is the thing. My thing is you honestly want to build slowly. I've seen a lot of people go super viral, get to the top, and you don't know what to do because you up here. And if you have videos that start going down here, you give up on yourself and your mental instead of what's called. But I'm sure, they figured it out, and it's a beautiful trend. But everybody can do it, because I look at it as if they can do it, I can do it. When I start seeing these kids dance on here, I'm like, Kenzie, I know we can do this. I know you can get there. Let's try it. And there you go. I think a lot of people, scared to take that risk. You know what I'm saying, John? It's just anything in life. I think it is, we put up these doors, and as we get older, and you think about, like, if I do this, then I'm my job, my insurance, all this different stuff, instead of taking that jump, boom. Because if something happens in our life, right? Like if something, like you lose your job, you'll find another job. Why not do it on our terms? That's how I think of it. But you know what I'm saying?
That's the entrepreneurial mindset that is so important. And it's like a dirty secret, but it's like anything, you have to put the work in. But I think it was a conversation you and I were having that most people who are doing podcasts, radio shows, any kind of entertainment or medium, if you start a business, they say, they recommend, and using the royal they, like, this is what I learned in school. You want at least 6 months, if not a year's worth of revenue to be able to run your business if nobody comes in the door, because you need to have that staying power. Well, with media and entertainment, it was like, what, a 2-year minimum before you begin making grounds. And like, you have to find out when you're going to be posting, what content, what's going to fail, getting the feedback. Like, I get feedback from my friends. Most of them are like, man, you think you're funny? I was like, yeah, you do too. Now shut up. But, the idea of like, what am I doing to change my brand, figure it out while also remaining fairly genuine,
That's
like
it. 100%.
I'm definitely willing to like, stretch and figure out some things just for my own personal growth. And if I try it and don't like it, I'm like, that's not for me. But at the same token, still like, floundering around. But this is years and years of doing this stuff. Like right now, you're playing Fortnite. I don't know if you're branching out into, I know the Call of Duty series is big. That's a heavy hitting market and stuff like that. And
my thing is, man, you got to be willing to take risks, and learning from like TikTok, like some of the head people, management and stuff, they tell us it's like, jump out. You have to keep trying, because if not, then you get stagnant. You know what I mean? So it's just like finding out what the people want. A lot of times I think a lot of creators make selfish content, and I did that. It's like, I think I'm funny, so I put it out there. They don't think I'm funny. Why they don't think I'm funny? So now you're in your mental. You really got to find out what the people want and listen to what the people want, and then kind of put your spin. And now don't take away your creativity in it. See what they want, throw your stuff in there, and as you build more of a, crowd or niche or whatever, and then start throwing a little bit more of yours out when the time is right. That was my thing. I was making very selfish content because I put out something and it goes viral, and I'm like, man, I didn't even spend 2 seconds on this. How did that work? But I didn't put hours into this. I know this is good. This is gonna go, and it don't do nothing. But then that's when that mental, barrier, and it's like, man, why they don't like it? Is there something wrong with me? No, there's something wrong with them. No, it ain't. Like you're doing this for the people, right? So make content that they want, but but don't take all yourself out of. You know what I mean? So your passion, you got to put it in there and the way. You know what I'm saying? It's very difficult, but once you said, like you said, once you do things for multiple years, you start to figure it out. You start to build that mastery in your craft.
Yep.
With you know what I'm saying? And if it's not like overbearing, where it's just taking everything out of you, people can see it, your passion in it. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel about it, bro.
That makes sense. And the dedication, again, like you growing up, seeing the weightlifting, and I go back to that because I think that there's always advertisements for start your own business, get in shape, and it's from what I have gathered and things that I've been able to achieve personally and professionally in my life, which right now I'm still looking to maintain and keep with a solid workout regimen.
But you got all this though. You got all this beauty.
Oh, this? Oh yeah.
That's natural though.
This what is it? I have a voice made for radio and a face made for porn, so I'm ready to go.
I ain't taking that far.
But the being able to do. I think everybody aggrandizes this idea that you have to do this huge thing every week. It's like, 3, 4, 5 hours a day, or I'm not doing it. It's like, spend 5 minutes. And it's the starting that is key. And if you do 5 minutes, okay, great. Like, okay, what'd you do? Well, I did a push up, a sit up, a squat, but I did it every day for a week. Well, are you doing it faster? Yeah. Can you do more of them? Yeah. And it's the same thing with, this content. Like I remember using OBS and setting everything up, weeks of being like, okay, what do I click on? How do I set up these filters and stuff like that? Now, we chatted and it's like, hey, how's Sunday work for you? Yeah, sure. Send a link, go.
Right.
And again, a lot of the software is free or near free. And you were using your phone, and most people have a phone. You're using the iPhone suite of stuff, but Android has other options that you can use as well. TikTok, I think, has native stuff in their program.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think it's building, man. You know what? I think back on it, like you said something about working out, and maybe it was that building in me of seeing over time. If you do something consistency, consistent, you will grow.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that was what it is, but it's just been in me from like saving money, all the above. It's just like I like to stay in the slow lane. I'm gonna get there too, same as the middle lane and the fast lane. Fast lane you might wreck because you're going too fast. Middle lane, something might happen. Slow lane, slow and steady. Turtle will always win the race, right?
Yep.
So always, I just know in my head, I got for some reason 5, 10, 15 years. Okay, what can we do? You know what I mean? And then once you hit a goal, like when we hit our first 1,000, that was the hardest one for me. I'm like, all right, I hit 1,000. I know I can do 5,000 if I hit 1,000.
Mhm.
So then you start building. Once I hit the 5, 10, you keep gradually going. But even just like all these workout regimens and stuff, if people stay, whichever one it is, stay with it, they will all work out with it. It's just we give up on it when we don't see in our eyes it's doing anything. And that's something that I think of any goal that you set, you have to stay consistent. That's why I listen to a lot of like motivational stuff. It's like I hit pitfalls.
Mhm.
Last month, my analytics went from like on my YouTube, 80 million. I did 80 million in a month and it went down to like two. And that's a
That's a
gone.
substantial drop. That's like a what,
Boom.
90%
Yeah, because they
more.
changed something in the shorts community. Where you
Okay.
remember I told you,
Mhm.
Gary
Yeah, the
Vee,
shorts.
jump on it. I was on it. Boom. Every little thing, they jump on it. I'm on it. I'm listening. But it dropped. I didn't give up. I'm still going at it. I got to figure out what they want now.
Mhm.
And that's with all the platforms. But I think it messes with people's mental because you just, you get caught up in that. You get up caught in the comments. It's a lot to take on, but it also builds you stronger. So that's what I tell my daughter all the time. It's like, we're not going to dig into the negativity because I think of the internet like a big old bear. It's like, it's cute and cuddly until you poke that bear. You can poke a bear, and that's the comments. You get to poking it, and they pour in. So they're going to be there. That means you're doing something right?
Yep.
You're going to get the hate. So don't, you know what I mean?
That was
with the territory. Go ahead, bro.
That was one of the most exciting things when we chatted a while back and I wanted to start up my own show and stuff. You're like, well, there's going to be haters. I'm like, wait, so there's going to be people come to me and let me tear them a new one and they're going to start the fight? I was like, bro, I got to get on this. Like, I need...
See, but that's it. See, the thing about it is, it's like that Andrew. Have you seen Andrew Tate?
Name's ringing a bell.
He went crazy. Like he's from some other.
Oh yeah, for last week, yeah, he was the dude that
got canceled on everything. Now I might not agree, and I'm not going to sit there and say I agree with everything he says, but some things he do have valid point. That's anybody. You know what I mean? You got to be correct in everything you say, but he was going back at people, and it seems like there can't be no more Dave Chappelle shows and stuff like that because you could get canceled. You can say one wrong thing, and that's it. But my thing is, it's like we can go order food. I might not like what you like. You might not like what I like, but we can still eat together.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way the world is, right? Well,
it's a lot easier to destroy than to create, and I think that if you notice the creators, like the small group that I've been working with, people I know and things, like all of them are so upbeat and wanting to help people. It's strange. It's not like other businesses that you get into where it's like, well, you'll get a piece of my pie, then I won't have it. Like there's so much content and ability to produce new content. You think of the guys, well, first of all, you and I are both big fans of Gary Vee. That dude is a monster. Like just super ahead of the game and honestly just seems like a legitimately genuine good human being. There was some dude went up to him and it was on his video and or one of his many. And he's like, I bet you don't even remember me. And Gary's like, hold up. And like he's like, give me some time. And like 2 minutes later, he's like, something was like Scott or something. And he's like, and I told you to go to this company. And dude's like, yup. And I mean, this guy he's meeting tens of thousands of people a year, but he's a big proponent of like, positivity and not that, really, I call it that stupid positivity where people are just like, well, it's okay. Everything will be fine. I'm like, it's not fine. The building's on fire. You got to figure it out. But just like genuine human kindness. And I think that that's something in the creators, it's very different from a creators community versus a traditional brick and mortar business. Because like I could produce 5,000 pieces of content. You can produce 5,000 pieces of content. They may overlap, they may not, but the ability for people to consume is only increasing. And it doesn't take away, like, just because I make content doesn't mean that your content now sucks. And if you make it,
I love that. You should be in competition. That's the main thing.
And like a healthy competition.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, exactly. But I think a lot of people get jealous, and you're going to deal with that. We've seen a lot of that. You know what I mean? Through friends and family, and it sucks. But it comes with the territory. I love everybody that, you know what I mean? I will try to tell you what to do. Like when people come up and tell me, like, what do I need to do? Like, I'm going to let you know. All the things that I went through, you holler at me, call me. A lot of them don't even call me.
Right.
I'd be like, bro, call me. I got some of the, the tools that you need that I learned over the past 3 to 5 years. Because we actually was making Instagram stories like 5 years ago, you know what I mean? Just for fun, we got really serious and everything. But yeah, man, just my main thing is just listen to people. You know what I mean? I wish back in my 20s and then, 15s, I listened to my parents. It would have saved a lot of headache, but some experiences I think you have to go through in life to figure out that, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, man, just sit back and just listen to people, especially the people that's going through what you want to do. Well, they don't tell you. But then don't go the other way. Be like, nah, it ain't working. No, it's working. This is working for them.
Yeah.
So, and if you find somebody, let's say if I like podcasting, I'm gonna come look at your stuff all the time. If I get to a point and see how you doing it, see how you move, and I'm gonna holler at y'all. Hey, John, you get tired of me. Hey, man, just tell me what I need to do. Not. I don't want to take nothing from. Just holler at me. So that's the main thing, man. Finding good people around you willing to help you and stuff like that. That's what I say. I help everyone. Let's do it.
I'm with you, man. Like that's, I know you've helped me out a ton. My buddy Chris has helped me out a ton. Right. And I'm going to get Adam, of course, kicking and screaming, but he's helped me out a lot with getting some of this started in the ideas as well. And it's a process, man. And
man.
Like for me, the hardest part is just making sure that I'm continuing to produce content and doing the weekly show, having guests, being able to talk to people and being like, all right, this is doing it. This is Sunday. And making sure that that's going through. It's work, but it's fun, like getting to make some of the jokes. I'm still trying to figure out the delivery mechanism. And a lot of people are like, yeah, you definitely are something I could put in the background for my children as long as I can't actually hear your profanity to put them to sleep because you sound like you voice NPR. And that's by design. That's something like my inflection and tone is one I use representatively at work. So I'm on a lot of work calls with various professionals. And I'll tell them outright. I was like, I'll probably slip in a joke at least once every meeting, but I'm not going to punchline it hard. I'm just going to deliver it just to see who's paying attention.
See who catch it, throw it there. Got him.
Yep. So, and there could be some more inflections and stuff coming out because that is one thing that I'm getting a lot of feedback is like, well, your delivery could be different. It's like, well, it could be. So I'm trying to see if like some of the flat delivery is forcing me to be a better, I guess, like comedian, joke writer, whatever, content producer, because I'm not relying on some of that immediate like body language or tone or inflections. Like, wait, it's how big? Like, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do that don't force you to have to write the better pun or line or think about it. And then there's other stuff that the jokes just write themselves. Like, I mean, everything political in this country. I was like, wait, they did what? I mean, those literally, they just write themselves. I was like, I'm just going to read a headline. Like, don't even have to fight it. Like, pull up a video. But, that's part of my own personal growth and figuring that out and stumbling along the way.
Hey, man, you're going to get it, man. It's just, like you said, figuring it out. Don't stop. And just work around your schedule, man. That's my thing is my mind is, man, it's always like I got to produce. But sometimes I do wish I can slow down, but for some reason, I don't know if I got that from my grandfather too. It's just like, you just got to keep going. That's just me. It makes me happy. If Karis, which is my girlfriend, she's like, slow down. I remember I told her when we hit our first million, I'm going to slow down. I went in overdrive. Because I'm like, I did a million, you can do three. But then you start realizing too, is like a lot of people make long content for some
Mhm.
reason. And I looked at analytics. I've talked to people, that's really high up. Shorter, and straight to the point. Our attention span has got so small. It's sad.
Mhm.
I think about it like this too. It's like if I go somewhere, I went to Best Buy and they didn't have it. I'm Amazon. I'm on Amazon 2 days.
Yep.
I mean, if it ain't in here in 2 days, I'm calling. So even my attention span is small. I noticed my daughter is like, we was watching TV. It was like last week or something like that, and a commercial came on. She didn't even know what a commercial was, man. She said, "Dad, can you
That's a
skip
different
this ad?"
generation.
She's like, "Yo,
Can you skip this?
ad?" I said, "It's a commercial." She said, "Well, what's a commercial? Why can't you skip it?" I said, "This is not YouTube. This is like real TV." She said, "Ugh, y'all watch this?" But like you said, it's the patience level. Everything is so fast. You know what I mean? Even like technology with her, like I realized like the things they talk about. Look at, oh my lord, I had to pull her phone back because they getting it way earlier. The stuff they talked about, we was talking about in high school. They talking about sixth grade, coming out of fifth grade. You know what I mean?
And
It's
you're
like,
like, nah.
yeah, man, because technology, it's a beautiful thing. What we have, John, encyclopedias. They got Google. It's like
Well,
this.
we had old encyclopedias where that shit was outdated.
You had to go there. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, it's incredible. And that was one of the things. Like I had exposure. I was dating a lady and she had kids. And, for about 4 years, it was funny because the kids would come around, they'd ask questions. And used to like, okay, you need to go to the library, find something out, or oh, I can tell you this. And I was a big proponent of trying to get them to help themselves. It's like Google it.
right.
And it's funny because the way that the Google Analytics works, how you ask the question is just as important as the answer. Because if you ask your questions in a different way, you'll get different answers. It's like, we'll go back on that political thing because it's so funny how that works. If you're like, why is Trump the worst president? You'll get the answers. Why is Trump the best president? You'll get the answers. It doesn't matter where you fall on the political spectrum. The
Right.
question you ask will feed the answers that Google thinks you're looking for. And
Right.
there's a lot of other things that go into the analytics, such as people who are paying to promote pages, things that are being done in terms of like, I want when this is searched for, people will just click and refresh. And it's similar to most other platforms, like the more watches and the more shares, stuff like that. And I've said it a dozen times by now. It's if people knew the information and the analytics out there and how it was being captured, half the people would be just terrified.
Well, I mean, it's crazy because what was it the other day? We was talking about something. Me and my girlfriend was. This is say it was a dog, but it was I can't even remember what it was. We was talking, and I was looking. It kept popping up on. It popped up on phone. It popped up on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm like, we look. I said, look at this, and then started popping up on her phone. I said, man, these things be taking it a lot. What we say, and I believe it.
Oh, 100%. And
it is supposed to be for the best experience, like because we realize this would do. It'll pop up and say because I had to uninstall Facebook. It was taking too much space, so I uninstalled, and it's like, can we track this, and you just hit, and then after I did, I'm like, I just allowed them to do whatever because I'm not reading this big long transcript, but I just hit okay. You know what I mean? So, man.
And then there's a lot of functionality that they either won't let you install the app or it just won't function correctly. Right. So, how many people use Alexa, Siri, Google? Like, I'll have, if I say, hey, and then immediately followed by Google, it'll pick up. Well, people are like, oh, that's really cool. And I love using that. It's like, but that means your phone is listening all the time because it's looking for you to say those words, but it's gathering all of it. And that's sweet data. And data is the black gold of the 21st century. It's weird we're in the 21st century now. I remember back in the late 1900s when I was a young man, but you don't know what these companies are doing, and they're like pulling data, consolidating it, storing it in data lakes,
selling it.
Selling it.
They sell it too. Yeah.
And the money is made there to be able to put together and piece all of these things in order to build out what is ultimately known as customer profiles. It's the same things that'll give you your data analytics. For me, working in IT, it gives me the analytics we're looking for, because it's how you target and monitor effectively so that you get the greatest customer experience. And, it's positive when you are trying to do things like improve the quality of healthcare, shorten times for things to be delivered to the houses and homes. How do you get more people to view your content? Like, does it need to be under 15 seconds or under 20, stuff like that? Like, there's so many cool things. And a lot of people are like, well, it could be abused. Yeah, you can abuse anything, but, it is what it is. Try to do that positive intent, move forward.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, because through my analytics, that's how I'm able to know when to post. Like, they're taking all the stuff. They show me how to read it. I figure it out. And it's like, okay, this is my time. So like you said, they're taking it, but then they're giving it to me for free to be able to kind of, it's like exposing, because it's like I get to put it out there at the right time because I know you're going to be there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it also helps with like business if you're selling anything. But that's just the way it is. It's like, to get the most outreach, this is your time. That's what it is. And I figure it out as you go more and more into it. But yeah, definitely. I agree with you on that one, man. 100%.
And people, you think about it from a consumer standpoint, like, oh, I want to be able to reach out to people at the right time that they're doing it. But that also means that people are collecting data. When are you on your phone? What apps are you on? What type of content? You mentioned a dog's name. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that one blew my mind. I wasn't gonna lie. I'm looking at my phone. She looking at her phone. I'm like, I said, this thing takes too much. But then I go on to the next thing like it wasn't nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Forget about it in 3 seconds.
I think this world it's super fast. Even when somebody passes away, I was thinking about this. Rest in peace, Kobe. It's just like, we took, literally, it's on the TV, and then I think about it, it's like 3 or 4 days later, something else. I'm like, dang, I'm still thinking about Kobe. You know what I mean? But the world is moving so fast. You know what I mean? So there's no time to sit back and just, let's go where it should be. It's like, man, it was, when I heard it, I was like, my heart, like, what? But it was on to this, boom, boom. And then your life and rolls in and boom. But that's what I think is with like creating and stuff like that, It's like you got to take the time in it, you know what I mean, to create sometimes, you know what I mean? And this is another thing. It's like, if you're not creating, you can be comment. That's content to me. That's what I think, you know what I mean? Just take the little times, you know what I mean? If you got too much going on, you say got 5-10 minutes, comment a couple times, make people happy, because that's going to bring eyes back to you. And then go on about your business and do whatever you have to do in your life, because your mental health in the long run is the main part of all this. And I don't think that's talked about enough. And
never enough.
Yeah, what's that?
Never enough.
No, man. And you know what? And I'm going to say this, man. When I was, let's see here, 25, 20 something, and my mind was just like, man, people just need to grow up.
Yeah.
Until I went through something. And that's what it took me. And I hate to say that, but I went through, not going to get too deep, but went through a divorce. And that right there, it shambles. And it made me see, like, bro, mental health is serious and depression is serious. And then because I had my child, and my main thing was to care for her, and she was going through depression. And you know what I mean? Juggling that job, man, it's serious. So it's never talked about enough. Like, I think a lot of people push things off. Well, let me speak for myself. I don't like speaking. I push things off because it didn't bother me until it affected me. And
right.
I realized, oh man.
It's not real till it is.
Oh man, it's real, man. It is really real. So I tell people too, it's like, you might not be able to go the speed I go. You know what I mean? I have a super passion for it. I do it. Take your time in whatever you do. If you're going to do content or your own business, take your time. You know what I mean? Don't give up. As long as you're doing the step, you keep walking forward, you're walking forward. You give up, you stagnant, or you start walking backwards when you just gave up. So just don't give up on it. You know what I mean?
I do. And the mental health's, it's an interesting comment based on, I think it's Ninja, just said that he was stepping away from producing content and didn't give a reason why. But I think that, he's been making content forever. He's got a master class on, how to set up your podcast in 30 days. I've been thinking about getting masterclass. I made a joke about it in one of the earlier things because it was a lot of a lot of former political entities were on a master class, and they literally called it the White House. I'm like, yeah, I was like, that's spicy. But the way that master class works, I thought that it was you pay for each class, but in this, like, you actually just pay for the service and you have access to their classes, which I think is pretty cool. I don't know how they provide payment or like reimburse the people that are doing the classes, because there's probably like some sort of pay share system or a one-time fee. I haven't looked into it, but it was interesting because he came out with a master class. I play a lot of Raid Shadow Legends because I'm an idiot, and it's so
like what they like, bro.
And he had an avatar character on there that you could earn as a free thing. So of course he's getting paid for that. But you think about how long he's been doing this stuff, and it's if it becomes more of a labor than a labor of love, then you have to evaluate where you're at. But I do think that you have to push through a little bit of pain, like not a lot, because there's that, is it new and it sucks and you're not good at it. And it's with anything, you're starting your own business, starting your new workout regimen.
100%.
And I didn't know this until it started happening to me more consistently. Like every couple of years, like I'd be like, all right, I'm going to do a big push to work out. I'd get sick. I didn't know that. I'd be like, oh, I got a cold, I got a fever, flu, something like that. Your body will actually begin to fight back and be like, nah, sit your fat ass down. And I was like,
the mind is powerful, man.
Yep.
That's the crazy part about it. I think too, man, just like we talk about Ninja since you brought him up, it's like he's taking a break, and that's a beautiful thing. I think it's like when like a creator, like I heard a lot of people say this. It's like, I gotta put out at this time, but then guess what? You had to just went to a funeral.
Yeah.
You did this, and the thing is too is the people that you producing this for, they don't know what's going on in your real life. Now they shouldn't, but whatever, unless you want to let them know. But all they want is 5 o'clock's here. Where's my video?
Yeah.
So when you take your mental break, like Ninja, a lot of people don't understand because every day he was doing it for 5. You know what I mean? At 5 for the past 10 months or whatever it is. Where's my video? And it's like, okay, I'm a loser. Hey, sometimes if you got to lose some people to gain some people. So take the time. But like you said, you do got to push through it. You got to start. You got to go. You got to get through that. You got to put that grind in. And then you start getting into that emotion of flow. That's what I call it. Getting that flow. And then you got to figure it out. And then you're going to have hard spots. Like I said, last month, it was a kick. But I know that for me, I don't really chase the numbers. Like when I first started, it's like I was young in it. And I was like, man, I'm looking at the numbers.
Well, that's your validation. That's.
But, yeah. See, that's the thing. But people, I tell people, it's like, if you get 100 views, that's 100 people in this room. Would you talk to 100 people face to face? A lot of people wouldn't do that. It's easy for me to talk like this to a mic or a camera, and then put the video out there and it's gone. So that's just like standing on the stage talking to 100 people, 50 people, or 10 people. That's still hard for people. That's 10 views. So if we break it down the smaller form, it's like, no, that man's getting 100,000 views or 100 views or whatever the case might be, and I'm only getting 5, 6, 7, 8. It takes time, but that's 5 or 6 people that you touched that you could change, and then you start figuring out that you build that strong base. You can have 1 million people to see it, but if nobody does anything, they see it. That's it. That's cool. If you're selling something, 1 million people see it. They go on to the next person, that's cool. But if you had 10,000 people see it and 5,000 people buy your stuff, that's even better.
Yep.
So, you know what I mean? It just matters. So I always tell them just, look at the numbers, but don't let it get to your head. That does not make the person you are. You know what I mean? You know who you are. You know what you stand for. Keep your values. I write them down. I know what I stand for. This is what it is. Because, you get the hate comments and then you get that one person in there. I love what you do. This changed my life.
There you are.
It'd be that one person. It'd be like, or the kids or whatever, they come up and say, like, oh my God, I love your stuff. Or the parents or whatever, everything that you're doing, my kids like.
I mean, you've eaten some really gross stuff. I'm just going to throw that out there. You have punished your mouth. Like it was awful. I was like,
they write stuff all the time. It gets to the point where don't even read it. I keep it pushing. I got so much going on. Honestly, it's like they come in so much on all platforms. You good and the bad. I gotta keep producing and do what I'm doing for the
Mm-hmm.
people. But yeah, you're gonna eat them. You
Hmm.
get the gross people. You don't know. And the bad thing is, a lot of times, like I did, like when I had a lot of time, I will comment back on like, hey, it was somebody to write something bad, whatever, and I say, something positive, and they be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I just, wanted to say hi." They just want some kind of validation out of you. That's it. They just want you. They figure, So I talked to John or John Wick or whatever before, and I commented something negative. He said something back. Oh, I got him. They just want something. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They just want some kind of, company from you.
Yeah, an interaction,
Yeah,
a
interaction.
moment.
That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. So that's my main thing on all that, man. Yeah, I take it too. You gotta have tough skin for this.
Oh
And that's
yeah,
with anything, though, right?
yeah. I
You
mean,
know what I
there.
mean?
I can't think of anything. You're talking about Kobe, and he. I think he was commenting on Shaq, and somebody was talking about, do you think he's a better athlete? And he goes, absolutely not, because he doesn't train as hard as I do. They're like, well, if he trained as hard as you, do you think he'd be better? He's like, absolutely. But
Right.
that was his mentality. It was like he was going in. He was
Man,
first guy in, last guy out, and just doing the work.
but look how good he is, just like a Steph, just like a Michael. And I'm just using basketball. I mean, you got across the board of
Mm-hmm.
any, sport, genre, music, whatever. They put in that work. You know what I mean? There's certain things that I think we got God given talent is like singing. I can't be no Bruno, man. I can't be Bruno, man. I just don't have that in me.
But that's
But
all right.
there's things, you know what I'm saying? But there's things that, they gave, God gave us. And I believe that, once you find it, you just have to keep pushing, making yourself better in that and go with it. I do like this about Kobe. And I was telling my buddy about this. It's like, he's like, man, you get money, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bro, I ain't even doing it for the money. Like, not saying I don't want to be paid. I enjoy doing it. And I think like Kobe just didn't do it for the money because he been chasing money. Kobe did it because he enjoyed the game. He
Mm-hmm.
likes to win. And the money came because how good he was, right? He got paid, compensated for all that hard work that he did, all the things that he loved to do. Oh, they paying him millions. It happens. You know what I mean? I think you chase money, you always chase money. For me, I chase time. And I didn't
Mm.
realize that until I got to, say, my right there, 29, 30. I'm just like, bro, there's one thing in this life that we can never get back is time, right? We can
War.
always make money. I can go here, Burger King, I can go anywhere and make money, but I
Yeah.
can't have the time with my family. So, what can I do that my family enjoys and we can do together? Make videos,
Yeah.
show people, but don't give them too much that you don't want to give them. Because once it's out there, it's out there. But yeah, that's the main thing, man. And I'd be able to do these on trips with my daughter, and it pays for itself, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a beautiful thing, man. Chase that time that we can't get back, man. If we on a deathbed, you ain't gonna be buried with no dang on money, and don't live with regrets. Try for once. You know what I mean?
I
That's how
think
I feel about
people.
anything. Try it.
Yeah, like what is it? Most people regret the things they didn't try. I mean,
Man, biggest regret, man.
I'm not gonna.
Yes.
I'm not gonna try to wrestle a tiger naked. That's just gonna be on my things I'm not gonna do.
Tiger King. I'm
Dude,
watching from a distance.
there was more. There was more different types of wrestling on Tiger King. If what I've been led to believe by that show, tigers were not involved or harmed during the wrestling matches.
Yeah, you're right.
But it's
Right.
you've got to be able to try something and figure things out, because if you're not, and you're just, Warren Buffett, he was talking about how his entire what is it, the not accounting book, but it's his meeting booklet. So he'd have all of his
Right.
meetings in there, and like he'd have days that were just blank, because he said, most people consider me to be fairly well off. I can buy almost anything I want. He's like, except for time. So the time is his most. He said it's the thing I guard the most closely, because he said I can buy anything else, but he's like, and if I lost all my money, I would still not have any more or less time. So
Man,
it
it's
was
beautiful, man. And he don't overspend himself. That's another one. Like I think he still lives in the same house since he was
Yeah.
what young or married first. I don't know what is it. The house. I mean, you would not see. I mean, you would
Like it's a
think
nice like
going
4 or 5 bedroom house or whatever, but it's
yeah, but
not.
it's a normal house. But he's been living there for years. It
Mhm.
ain't nothing crazy. So I mean, that's another thing. It's just like I think a lot of people overspend themselves, and I can't speak for what you spend your money on. My thing is, kind of try to live modest, man, and explore life, man. You know what I mean? Go out vacation if you could. You know what I mean? Just
Mhm.
minimize your spending. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's. I think a lot of well, let's just say I have seen people worry about what somebody else think more about them than the love for themselves. Love yourself.
You
And I
have
tell my
to.
daughter, I pound it in my daughter's head. It's like this can all be gone. And I tell her all the time. I said, you stay humble. You will see me take pictures or meet people, whatever. Come on, kids. I call her. We was at the football game not too long ago. I had to call her 5. Hey, kids, come on, holiday. They want to see you. This is how I am. I
Mhm.
keep it humble because these are the people who are watching us. That's helping us to get to where we need to be. So always try to stay humble in your ways too. That's what I believe, man. Don't get too cocky. You know what I mean? Try to spread that love as much as possible. You know what I mean? Just believe it all can be gone. That's why I like Gary Vee too, because Gary
Mhm.
Vee, he takes it to the extreme, but like he just says in his mind, like I will see that my kid's dad or die or all this different stuff to make me focus back in and stay humble that they still here. It's like every day he wakes up and it's like, what happened if my mom died, my dad died, blah 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 blah. How would you feel? They're not like that. So this day is not that bad. Let's
Mhm.
keep it pushing, and there you go. It's just all I believe is how the perspective, what I mean, what you think of something, you know what I mean? So that's the main thing, bro.
That's it. Positive and moving forward, and just
Oh
making sure
man.
that you're doing the things that you can be proud of at the end of the day and having fun. To I guess to get back to it. All right, so you work a full 40 at least.
Yes,
How
sir.
much time do you spend? I would say just like doing the basic care and feeding of your channels.
Oh man.
You talking about like I mean
Man,
2 3 hours
I would
a day
no
or
man. My screen time is probably like 10 hours a day.
okay.
It's crazy, man. Like I say, I stay on there. My job is not bad. My job been beautiful to me too, man.
Okay.
They let me off and when I ask or whatever times, whatnot. But like I said, I enjoy doing this,
So it
so
doesn't feel like
it's not
work.
hard for me. But my daughter and Kara, like they say their little parts. I got to do the editing. I do
Mm-hmm.
all the writing, all that. I mean, I'm not doing this by myself because I need my girls.
Mm-hmm.
But that right there is the heavy load. So, but I enjoy doing that part. Like I said, every time I see somebody, write something, a good comment, just like boom, another burst of energy. Just it takes that one, not a whole bunch. It's that one. Boom, let's get it. But that's just me personally because I enjoy doing it. That's like my debrief. Even when I was gaming, I was like, okay, I can make content out of something I love. I love
Right.
gaming. Let me show people my gaming. So it's not like I really sit back and look how much time I'm spending because
Occasionally you
I
win
enjoy
too.
doing it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I'm having fun. Like I'd be on here 5 hours. That's 5 hours of content that nobody else will see, but why not put it out there?
I
And
mean,
then you can, have the opportunity to make money, you know what I mean? But I enjoy doing it. So it's just a win-win.
well that really gets to the point. It's funny, I think we both played MMORPGs. God, I've actually just restarted playing a little bit of EverQuest, and I was doing that when I was 12. That game's over
Right.
25 years old. It made me sad to say that out loud. But like we would spend and still do a ton of screen time. So what is it just to be able to pull that in and like still play in the game? You're like for me right now, throw up OBS,
Yep.
just turn it on. Now I do have a screen capture. I think both of us got Elgato. You have the one built into your computer. I got the external box, but
Right.
you plug it in. That does cost a little money. But
Right.
once you've done that, you've got your gaming system. You can either do it on your computer,
Right.
PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, whatever. Then you're just recording it,
Yep.
and then you're doing something you love. And
Yep.
if you you're still having fun. You're just producing and creating the content. Now, I will say that the cutting and the editing and all that stuff, that is work. And
people don't understand. It is, man. I mean, once for me, it's like I figured out different ways. Like when we do our shoe review, I was like, okay, how can I minimize all the editing for one take? We have been doing, but the thing it took me to be able to do one take things. It took me 5 years of building. You know what I mean? So it took that 5 years to get to the level where we do our shoe review. It's one take. All I do is add like my socials, boom, at the front end, done. Bang, done. As soon as the video over, I can edit and get it all done in 10 minutes. But there are certain things that I do, like you said, it is time consuming and people don't realize that. So that's where I think sometimes people put a lot into that and then you put it out there, it might not do as good. And you're like, oh man, no, give it time. Let it settle. Because I think content is like rental properties. Like you rent it, it will still be there and it will consume that money or whatever time it needs when it's time. It's out there. The internet got it. You know what I'm saying? Once the stuff in the internet, people pull stuff from like 50 years ago off of somebody. You know what I'm saying? So it's
better or worse.
Better or worse. So give it time. And then it might kick up. Even on YouTube, there's videos of people going viral after a year and a half on the same videos. Like, well, dang, all of a sudden this one just took off. Give it time. Let it sit. So yeah, I agree with that, man.
It's a lot like the stock market. It's not timing the stock market, it's time in. And that's
like that.
Again, the amount of content, and I may have said this once on Chris's show, and I'll say it again. It was when I don't remember the comedian. I'll have to Google it and maybe look it up. But the comedian was just coming up, just ran into Jerry Seinfeld. And he's like, hey, Jerry, you're killing it. Like Seinfeld was out and popular. And he goes, hey, how can I be a funnier comedian? And he said, write 3 jokes a day, put it in a jar, and walked off. And the dude was getting ready to go on stage, so he couldn't be like, hey, WTF, and go over to him and grab a hold of him, shake him, and be like, thanks for the tip, a-hole. But, he goes and he started doing it. He's like, if I ever run into this guy, I'm going to tell him about it. So he started just writing 3 jokes a day. And every day he'd write it, he'd throw it into this jar, and he's like, whatever. And he's like, some of these would be garbage. Some of them would be just terrible throwaway puns or something that he'd heard somewhere else, etc. And he said that at the end of the month, he said, I've got like almost 100 jokes here I could work off of. And he said, Jerry Seinfeld at this point in time had been doing this for 10 years.
So you start calculating, wow.
And so he's like, this dude has thousands of jokes. And I think Chappelle even mentioned it. And you want to talk about like cancel culture and somebody that's just an undeniable talent. He's called himself that. I can't argue. Like the dude is undeniable. Probably one of the best, easily in this generation.
Oh yeah.
But, he was talking about like he'd reach into a jar, just pull out a punchline and he'd be like, yeah, I can make a joke off that. But it's putting in that time and that effort and making sure that you do a little bit every day. So like you're saying, now you couldn't do one-shot takes 5 years ago. You wouldn't know how to hold your phone. You wouldn't know what you needed to add. Everyone wouldn't be in the rhythm of being like, okay, we need to hit these points, stuff like that. But now you can because you've done the work. You've had the practice. And
I agree 100% with that, man. It's time in. Like you said, I like how you put that. It's time in. And I believe that's with anything, business or whatever it is. It's just like you got to put that time in to get there. And my thing is, I always say, if you see somebody else do it, why can't you do it? You ain't got to be in competition. My only person I'm in competition is with myself. 100%. Wake up. What can I change about myself the next day? Not this person because he's doing better than me. He's getting better results. I am dead in competition with myself. That's just me personally. That's what I do. How can I better myself? What can I do? Every day I wake up. So it's definitely time in, man. And being consistent, man. As just when you're not getting results, that makes the champions. You know what I mean?
Just pushing through.
Oh man, what did he say? He's just like, I think they was up in the finals, 3-something. He's just like, ain't you so happy? He said, why you not smiling? Because the job's not finished yet. The job's not finished. Why don't I smiling? Even when he lost, he back in the gym. He back in the gym, man. Even when they win, I'm back in the gym. Why you back in the gym? And all his players looking at him like, we're going out to party. That's not me. But that's why Kobe's Kobe, Tiger's Tiger, or whoever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just time in, man. That's what I tell everybody, just because I think a lot of people see the success and be like, I want that. I can do it. Yes, you can.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't see, the 5 to 10 years I put in, you know what I mean? And that's what I was telling my daughter is like, she's a competition dancer and she messed up on her competition. Now, she didn't put in 2 years of work. And the last year, she went extra hard on this dance. Mm-hmm. And then she's going to let this one time define you. I said, this one time don't define you. I said, look at all the stuff you learned to get here. No, you didn't place. But look, I'm proud of you. I said, do not let this one time define the person you are. You get back up off your back and let's get it again. You didn't deserve to, and I tell her, you didn't deserve to win. That girl's was better. It is what it is, and that's how life works. But guess what, honey? We know what we're working with. We know what we need to do. Let's get it. You'll get it, got you. And I'm 100% it too. It's like, I believe heavily of working with your children because like they look up to you. Like, I do whatever. I can't really do the dance move. I throw my back out.
Don't do that.
She's like, I want to try basketball. I said, we want to practice. I said, you know how I am. I said, you commit it, and then you decide. Like, I'm not going to live through you either. It's like, if you want to play, you'll play, but we're going to get you there. You know what I mean? So it's just time in, bro. 100%. I love how you said that one. Time in.
Well, on that note, we will call it a quick meeting.
Yes,
I think it's honestly like, I'll have to check the recording. I think it's almost been an hour, but would love to have you back on, chat some more, especially about some of like just the entrepreneurial mindset, some of the things that you do to be successful. And again, like the work in the personal life, because mental health is so important. And especially for men. I'm not saying that women's mental health isn't. I think that there's more support for it now. I think that we're getting more support for men in their mental health, which is incredible.
Right.
And everybody deserves the opportunity and ability to be happy and healthy, both in their physical and their mental, and even spiritual too. So,
Amen.
Alex, it's a pleasure as always, buddy. Thanks for coming out, and we'll chat soon.
Peace out, bro. Anytime.
And have a good day.
You too, bro.